And so let's go right into Jonas Activity Management, or JAM for short. First module in JAM, we have activity tracking. And one new feature in here, I think it may be a little bit more helpful if I show you the screenshots. Right here, for the activity tracking module, you can show other members that have checked into that part of the club. So we have the monitoring display up there at top, and on the right-hand side, we have the member display. So you can see all the other members that have already checked into the fitness area. In the class scheduling module, you have a couple different features in here. Number one, and I'll show everybody this in the program, but when it comes to your bookings and all the different bookings you have, we have what's called a global view in JAM. And the actual feature in here that this slide is saying is that you can now book classes from that global view, which is fantastic. But I'll show everybody what that global view is. So I find a lot of clubs and a lot of people don't know really what global view is, and they haven't seen this option. So in JAM, under System Administration, under the Tasks section, so I added it to my top toolbar. If you don't see it up there on your screen, it's just under the Tasks section over here. You have your global view. But this shows me everything that's happening at the club. So not just my court booking, not just my events. It shows me every single facility that I have. And then depending on what facility you're clicked into, let's say my fitness room here, now you can right click and you can create a class from this global view. Okay, so I did want to highlight there that we do have the global view feature, but the actual slide itself was saying that you can create classes from that global view. Next one here, still on classes. When you do create a class for your members, let's say a beginner yoga class, you can choose whether you do or don't want to show that on your online calendar. So now you have the ability to hide that from online class, as the flag says there. This one here, when you do sign up members for particular classes, we added a little column in the member sign up screen there, which has their mobile or their cell phone number. So if you do need to contact them, there's just a quick link right there to their phone number. You don't have to go searching for it anymore. In the CRM module, if anybody has the CRM module, it used to be that when you want to create an email marketing list from CRM, that list would be queued awaiting for a sync. Now the list will be created right away, immediately. In Health and Spa, we got one option in here. And for Health and Spa, you can, it used to be that you can see all of the eligible services for selected providers. Now we also give you the option to view all the eligible services for selected facilities instead. So just another option for you. Under dining reservations, a couple things in here. Number one, we added the internal notes box right there. So when your members book a dining reservation online, they can add a note that will show up under that reservation notes section. And if you type anything in there as well, the member could potentially see that note that you type in. So if you don't want them to see that note, you can use the internal note section now instead. Okay, another one is when you make a booking yourself, so when it's an in-house booking, you can set an in-house advanced booking restriction for the number of days or number of hours. So when my staff do dining reservations, I'm going to limit them to a maximum of 14 days in advance for that dining reservation. This one right here is referring to one of the new reports we added for dining. And that report is called Dining Reservations Enhanced Service Report. And that's exactly what it's designed to do, enhance your service. So just so you can see the setup of this report, these are the filters that you can go through when you're running this report. And it's really specifically good for the middle part of this screen here. You have the preferences to include. So if you track any of these things in your Jonas program, and if you didn't know, you can track this for all of your members, but you can bring in this report if the member has any seating preferences, their cocktail preferences, appetizer, allergies is in that list as well. It's just not in that screenshot. And there's even a flag there to include the occasion if you want to see why people are dining, whether it's a birthday, retirement party. And so this is kind of what the report could look like when you run it. So here I have my member, Robert Lamena. And when he dines, I have a list of his seating preferences, cocktail preferences, even his allergies are listed on this report. Okay, and then this is just an alternate view of this report right here. Shows me all the same information, just a slightly different view. Another one for dining, when it comes to sending out email confirmations or cancellation emails, you can now have a different email subject for the different things that happen. So a completely different subject for a new reservation versus a canceled reservation. You can edit those and change that however you see fit. Going into court booking. So first thing in here is we do have, and you can implement a cancellation policy now for your court bookings, which is fantastic. And you can also say the second part of this feature is you can input a cancellation deadline. So you can input the number of hours in advance that your members cannot cancel their booking anymore. And with that being said, this next feature for the court booking waiting lists, I'm going to pass it over to Rob Lamena, and he's going to go through this feature, which is a really cool new feature. I'll hand it off to you, Rob.
Thanks, Greg. So probably back in March of last year, we introduced the concept of a waiting list in court booking. So what it allows members to do is to put their name down and say, I would like to play at this time that's already booked. So if a booking does not exist at a time, member can book it just like normal. If, however, a booking does exist, they will have the ability to add themselves to a wait list. The wait list functionality has sort of three pieces that need to be working with it. One is you need to set it up in the back office, obviously. And secondly, you need to be using our online court booking through Clubhouse Online. And lastly, the member needs to have an email, because what's going to happen is when the member makes a request, it's going to be stored. However, emails are automatically going to be sent out to people as times become available, which were previously booked or blocked or what have you. What we're looking at right now, as far as the screenshot is considered on this slide, is a configuration screen within which you're going to set up how the waitlist is going to work. So in all waitlist scenarios, there's basically three phases. One is when there's going to be exclusive offers sent out to the first person on the list, a phase during which we're going to send out offers to everyone on the list, and the final phase where we don't send any offers out at all and the time just goes back to being available. So it kind of it's like a declining scale. So the farthest out is the offer. So when are we going to send offers? So anything in this particular configuration that's canceled or made available again, let's say, more than 4 days out is going to be sent as an exclusive offer to the first person on the list. And the first person on the list is the first person to have submitted a waiting list request for that time. They're going to have an amount of time during which they have exclusivity over that offer. That's what we set down here in this waiting list offer exclusivity duration. So for 1 hour, that member will have exclusivity. When that hour elapses, an email will then be sent to the next person on the list, and they'll have an opportunity to accept or decline that offer as well. The second range is defined by time range beyond which offers are sent to all request holders. So anything inside 4 days, we're going to send out emails to everybody on the list, and it's a free for all among those people. So whomever accepts it first will get it. Everyone else will not have that opportunity, and they will be told as such when they go to click on it. So basically, inside that 4 day period, someone cancels a time, there's 5 people on the waiting list, all 5 people get the email, all 5 people have equal opportunity to accept that offer, and whoever does it first gets it. And then the last phase is anything inside 3 days here where offers are not sent out. So at that point, we're not going to send any offers. That time that was canceled or the booking was removed is just going to be available to everyone else online. So anybody online can go in, see that time is available, and make a booking for it. Down below, we have these two settings, waiting list offer, sunrise and sunset. Those basically just dictate the hours between which we're going to be sending email offers. So between 7 a.m. and 9 p.m., we'll send out offers. Anything after 9 p.m. that gets canceled, we're going to hold that email. It basically just gives you a time during which it's unrealistic to expect members to respond. So if you set the sunrise or the sunset time to say 4 a.m., then up until 4 a.m., we're going to send out emails, and then that email goes out and the exclusivity may lapse before the member even notices it because they're sleeping. So the idea is to put them within a reasonable time range when you think people are going to be able to respond to those emails. And then once that sunset time hits, we'll stop sending them out and we'll hold them until the next morning at 7 a.m. and we'll reevaluate them to understand what phase of the waitlist we're in. So if, for instance, someone cancels at 10 p.m. tonight, we're not going to send any emails out, but at 7 a.m. we'll reevaluate the state of it. And if that is now in a different phase, let's say we're sending out to all request holders, then at 7 a.m. we'll send out an email to all request holders. So like I said, just giving people a reasonable range of times when they'll be expected to respond to those waitlist offers. So what we're looking at here is the view create waitlist screen. So not only will members have the ability to go online and create waitlists, but if they should call in, you're going to have the ability to create waitlists on their behalf. And there's a create view waitlist request screen. And that's what we're looking at here in the bottom portion of the slide. What we're looking at right now is sort of the waiting list for a particular date. You can filter that further by date, time, court type, and even courts within a given type. And then you can filter it by the status of the wait list. So there's a few different statuses. Waiting is the one where nothing is being done. That request is just sitting, awaiting a time to become available. There's an offer sent, there's an offer accepted, there's a decline state, depending on how they interact with it. So I think inevitably if someone accepts a waiting list request and gets the time, it'll mark it as fulfilled, and then the wait list cycle starts again, right? So it sits there. Everyone else that remains on the wait list will remain there until such time as the time they've requested or the range of times they've requested become available. Here's where you actually create a wait list on behalf of a member. So you're going to either type in their member number, it'll look it up quickly, you can add them, or you can hit that little ellipsis button at the top right, which will allow you to do a lookup. If you don't know the member's number and you want to just search by name or some other parameters, you can select the date on which you're creating the wait list, the court type, and then the court. So a member may say they have a preference for court 1, badminton court 1, as opposed to court 2. So you can select just that court, or you can select many courts, and then anytime anything comes available for any of the selected courts, they'll be receiving a request for that. They can specify the number of players, as well as the earliest and latest acceptable start time. So that's basically creating the range of times during which they'd be willing to accept a waitlist request. So if a time became available not at 4:30 on this one, then they wouldn't get an offer for it because that's not within their acceptable range. Below that, there's a couple of interesting features. One is automatically accept first available court. And what that means is a member will not receive an email in that case. And if a court should become available that satisfies their request, it's automatically going to be booked on their behalf. So no interaction required from the member. As soon as a time becomes available within their range, they will receive a confirmation notification saying that you have a booking for 4:30 on January 12th because it's happening automatically. The other option is swap bookings. So as long as the member has a booking on the date specified for the court type indicated here, they have the ability to swap out the booking they already have for the waitlist request. So sometimes what happens is a member can't find a time or a court that is preferable, and what they'll do is make a booking that's a fallback. So in case nothing should come of the waitlist, they can always come out and play, just not on their preferred court or preferred time. But with this setup, what it allows them to do is make that fallback booking and then swap it automatically should a time that is more preferable come available based on their waitlist request. So in that particular instance, either way, they can have both of these flags checked at the same time, but let's say they just have swap bookings checked, they'll get the offer, they'll accept the offer and complete the booking, and as part of the booking completion, we will remove the other booking they've opted to swap, so they don't end up with two bookings for the same day, or for similar times, they automatically can just have the one booking based on their preference stated within the waitlist request. From a website perspective, that's what we're looking at now. On the left-hand side of these screenshots, you can see that on Outdoor Hardcourt 1, there's a block time between 9 and 10, and the Add to Waiting List button is available to members. When they click on that, similar to what we saw in Jonas Activity Management on Clubhouse Online on the website, they have the ability to create their own waiting list request. Again, specifying the court, the date is already pre-filled because they're selecting it from a particular sheet, then their earliest and latest start times, how long they're going to play for, total number of players, and then again, those same two options, accept first available offer and auto swap existing booking. And similarly, if they check that auto swap existing booking, it'll show them the booking or bookings they have on that day, and they can select which one they want to swap. Again, you'll notice this little icon at the bottom indicates that we have a video on this on YouTube, that when you grab the presentation from the handouts, you can click on that to view the video. Another feature that was added for this is the disable waitlist button. So you'll see that it's located in the ribbon above the courts on the court scheduler page. There's also a similar toggle within the court settings screen. But what this disable waitlist allows you to do is make changes in bulk once it's disabled, which will not trigger any of the emails to go out. So if you disable the waitlist and you have to shift your schedule around because a particular group is being moved from one court to another or one time to another, that will not trigger any of the waitlist machinations while the waitlist is disabled. So you can make all your changes without this massive email barrage being sent out to your members. And then once you're done making all your changes, you can re-enable the waitlist, and then it'll kick off whatever emails are necessary at that time. But it won't be sending them out as you're making changes from one court to another, swapping bookings, etc. So it allows you to make those changes in bulk, manage your sheet accordingly, and then once you're done with all that, you can re-enable it, and then the waitlist offers will go out at that time.
Awesome. Thank you, Rob. So moving on to the next one here, we have still in court bookings, we have the booking log. So if anything happens to your bookings, if you add someone to a court, if somebody gets canceled or deleted by accident, we do track that in court booking now. That'll tell you exactly what happened, who did it, what time they did it. So any changes that happens, you can certainly see that, track that. Next one here is the court utilization report. This report essentially tells you how busy your courts are. So what it's being used for, and its particular features on this report is we added the ability to include class bookings and include appointment bookings. And you can even filter by the time of day or the certain days of week. But the include class bookings and appointment bookings are really important because your classes, which would include your tennis clinics, that will be through a different module. And we still want to include that in our court utilization report, so you certainly can. And your tennis lessons, those might go through the appointment booking module. So you can include that in your court utilization report as well. This one here, a really cool feature in addition to the court cancellation feature that we added, there's a new flag called remove cancellation fees if rebooked. So if my member cancels at a certain point, and normally we would charge them that cancellation fee, now you can turn on that flag and say, if anybody else rebooks where my member canceled, then we're not going to charge that cancellation fee. Next one here is the member guest utilization report, very similar to the last utilization report I showed you. But now you can choose which courts you want to include in that report, and you can also include to detail it by booking type. So when you run this report to see what we're using our courts for, you can see how many singles you had out there, how many doubles, how many lessons, and you can include all those in the report. This one here, the court audit report. Now this isn't a new report per se, but we added a bunch of new things to it. And right here, you can see what we added. We just added the time of day filter and the day of week filter. And what this report looks like, if you haven't run this before, is the court audit report shows you all the booking types. So again, how many singles you had out there, how many doubles, who was on the courts. And then on the right-hand side of this report, it even has all of your courts fees as well, how much you charged, who you charged. So a really good report. That's called the court audit report. Going into event management. Couple new features in here. First one, when you take a look at all your forms, this would include your function sheets, your BEO, your event order. If you want to email those out, you can now select a single form. It used to be that you had to select multiple, but now you can just select one form, attach that to your Outlook email, and then you can send off that form. So if you just like to send out your BEO, click on that one, attach it to your email, and send it out. The event registration detail, when I'm signing up members for my member event, it used to be that I had to right-click on that booking if I wanted to edit anything after I've booked them. And we've just made it a little bit easier for you. We added the edit button up there, so you don't have to right-click anymore. Another button we added to the top of the same screen when you're adding your members to an event and you're signing them up, we added an email marketing list button. So all the people that have signed up for this event, you can easily click one button and add all those people to the email marketing list. Okay, next one here. And this one I'll show everybody in a little bit more detail, but when you're looking at a list of your events, we do have an actual program in Jam called the event list. And in that list, you can filter by facility now. So you can say, show me all of my events that I've hosted in the ballroom. But I do want to highlight, I'm going to show everybody this in Jam. I want to highlight that feature specifically for the event list, because I find a lot of people don't really know about this too much. But if we go into event management and then go into event list, this is also a really good option for those of you who have recurring events. If you have just an annual event, that's pretty much the same every year. You can go into the look for field and look through your list of events here. So if I have my, I just have a really broad one here. I have my member event. If I'm going to duplicate that onto this year's event calendar, I can look up that word member or event or whatever you called that event last year, and you can look it up in this screen. And then you can duplicate it right from this screen as well. So really good, easy feature if you are looking to duplicate events from the last time you ran it. Next one here, we now give you the ability to edit what shows up on your member push notifications. So again, for your events, if you want to send out a notification to your members and have that pop up on your phone, you can totally customize what shows up on that push notification screen. This one here, another really highly requested one. I know Jeremy's gotten a lot of requests for this feature, but now for your Jam events, for all the American clients out there, you can use the UBI module for Jam events. So in the sales categories here, you can flag it for UBI, so you can flag it as food, beverage. And then on the Jam side as well, we have a flag in the event setup screen now, and you can flag a particular event and say this event is UBI or unrelated business income. So that is a feature now in Jam. If anybody was looking for that, you can flag events as UBI.